Hey, welcome to another video on how to get 1,000 points in the NCL Gymnasium and being prepared for the competition. This one's about password cracking. So you'll notice here I'm already in Kali, which is what you pretty much have to use. It's possible to download and use some of the stuff. I mean, I'm on a Mac here, but you, it's just best to use Kali. So I'm in Cali here. You can see I've got my, just showing the slideshow here. We're gonna have to get to my Google Drive in a second, but we're gonna go through the basic ideas right now. So the first idea you need to know about. The first thing is with passwords, the password itself isn't encrypted. It uses something called a hash. And a hash is an algorithm, and there's lots of different ones. So there's lots of different hash algorithms, and what they all share is that they make computations on a value such that the result, so the output, so the hashed value is unique for that value. So the algorithm, the hashing, is irreversible. So if you're going to do password cracking, that requires the hacker to guess what the password might be, repeat the hashing calculation, and compare that to the hash value they have. So we're basically they call it brute force in a way, and it's just like guessing. So most of the hashing algorithms are accelerated by a GPU. So the better the computer you have, mostly based on your GPU, the faster your hashing is going to be. All right, that said, most of the time in a CTF, you're going to use MD5. So there was an MD4 that's actually even faster. It had its own problems. No one should ever use MD5 anymore, and we'll see some other hashes in this that people shouldn't be using at all. But anyway, this one's fast. So basically, for an MD5 hash, what you're looking for is the resulting hash is going to be 32 hex digits. It's 128 bits. And what that is that one of the issues here is recognizing what the hash is. Anytime you have 32 hex bit digits, it might be MD5. So there's other hashing algorithms that produce 32 hex digits, and if you don't get the right hash format, you're not going to be able to crack your passwords. So, like I said, MD5 has its own problems. One of them is a collision vulnerability problem, and also it's a super fast hash, and again, no one should be storing it. The next thing for CTFs is this rockyou list. So rockyou.txt is a collection of passwords that were hacked from an old website called rockyou, and this website in particular was storing passwords in clear text, like they weren't hashed. So then what that meant is these hackers had access to the actual password that people typed in. And that actually, in a way, revolutionized what hackers and what we in security really think about passwords. Because we used to kind of think people were just pulling passwords out of the dictionary, but it turns out, there's a lot of passwords like with names and combinations of words and other things. And the funny part is, rockyou has about 15 million passwords in it, and people still use those same passwords today because it's just such a common thing. So rockyou is kind of I don't know, is it the Bible? You look it up in the Bible. So anyway, that's fun. The other thing about this is, and why I'm in Kali, rockyou.txt is already built in here. What you really just need Kali, honestly, for this set of exercises and for a fair amount of the other ones anyway. So at this point, if you're especially doing any CTF, you need to be on Kali. The speed up from the native access to the CPU and the GPU means that it's best in some cases, if you really want to do this quickly, to have your Kali boot your computer so that Kali has direct access to the CPU and the GPU. I'm here on this, I'm running it in a VM, and one of the interesting things I found is I'm on a Mac OS, and that it's actually faster. A fair amount of what I'm doing in the Kali VM is actually faster in a VM than it is native from the command line or the terminal prompt. So again, keep using Kali. All right, first exercise. This would be basically a very typical easy list. We got 5 hash passwords here that appear to be from the rockyou list. So I got, John, Doc, Freddy, Bones. Anyway, these names are made up, obviously, and the hashes are from passwords I'm going to show you. All right, so here we are. The basic idea here is we need to create a file listing the hashes. I wouldn't call it hashes.txt. In fact, let's change it right here and we'll call it MD5 hashes. Okay, so we know, or we think they're MD5, and they probably are. Like, just a note here. It's possible to look up what the hash might be. There's hash identifiers. The problem again is anything 32-bit hex could be a lot of different things, but assume it's MD5. So I'm going to go ahead and make a file, a text file. Let me go into my home directory. There's probably a lot in here. I've already done all this stuff. Let me delete these because we have other stuff to do. I'm just going to move these to the trash so they're out of the way. All right, so I opened again. I just flipped into the password, or not the password, sorry, the file explorer. It's basically here. So now I'm under Kali. This is the home directory of the Kali user. And I'm putting it here just because this is where the terminal will open. I can create a document and say empty file, and I'm just going to name it. We already said we want to call it MD5 hashes.txt. And that's because I want to be able to know which one is which. In fact, let me change it back here because it needs to be MD5 hashes. And this won't fit on one line anymore, so I'm going to have to deal with that, but that's fine. All right, so we're going to crack them in just a second. We need to go back here and copy them. So I'm just double clicking on each one. I'm hitting Control C, or I can right click and hit copy. It works the same way. I flip back over. Now I'm in. I need to get into that file. So I go into the home directory. I just open it. I'm double clicking it. It opens it in this mouse pad text editor, and I just hit Control V, or I can right click and do paste. Either way, that's exciting. So I'll do this. Let me just show you one with a right click. Oops, double click it, right click, and hit copy. And I can click over here, right click, and hit paste. And if you're doing this, you need to get used to Control C, Control V, and I'm hitting enter after I Control V, Control C, Control V. And what I'm going to tell you actually right now, if I was doing this right, I would go through all the rest of them. Any of the MD5 hashes, I would copy into this folder. So here's some hash passwords here. Those are definitely going to be MD5. These are also MD5. Here's some more MD5. I would just put them all in there. My goal as a CTF participant here is to crack passwords. I'm not here to like do it according to the order they said. Some of the passwords later will actually show up in the rockyou list. It's just that big. So there we go. MD5 hashes txt. It's right here. It's in my home directory because I created it there. I just hit File, Save. I can hit, there's a button right there for save. Anyway, now it's saved. I'm going to leave this open though because you could see earlier that I am going to be using this file again. I'm going to pop open a terminal now. And here I can just use that command. Now, of course, you're going to have to copy it if you're watching me do this. I'm clicking here. I'm going to hit Control C, which you cannot see me do, but too bad. And I'm going to here, you have to hit Control and Shift V to paste it in. All right, here's how the command goes. An A0 means a word list. M0 is the type of hash. M0 is MD5. Then comes the name of my word list file, and then the path to the rockyou file. So right now, it is there. I've actually uncompressed it. It's when you typically install Kali the first time, it is compressed in GZ format, but Hashcat can use it. So I should be able to just hit enter here. It will take a minute to sort of warm up Kali, or not Kali, warm up Hashcat, get it loaded into memory. Then it's going to go through the rockyou list here. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3. How many did we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're done. That's my passwords. The thing I need to note is if I'm looking at the list, I'm going to scoot this over a little bit. If I'm looking at the list, I need to make sure I match up the people. Why isn't this one? Scroll. It's funny, I got inverted scrolling and a bunch of other stuff here. I need to make sure these hashes match up. You see this one says 99? That's Freddy. AA is doc. So they're in a different order, and it's in the order it found them in the list. So the list is in a certain order, and I love you 222 came up first. And so when I'm entering them in, make sure you match the hash to the hash in the question. So don't just type them in order. All right, so that one was nice and easy, nice and quick, right? Funny part about this one is this one's even easier. So here we've got 5 more passwords. Looks like someone got lazy and was just using the same usernames. I'm going to scoot this over just to where I can see my hashes file. I'm just going to paste them in here. I'm just pasting them in, Control C, Control V, the same as I did before. And notice here the well, we'll do the mask in a second. I'm copying and I'm pasting them. Now I can hit save and it's ready to go. Here are 5 hash passwords that were created in the format Dr. Haynes followed by 4 digits, right? This is called a mask attack. A mask attack is basically any combination, like this pre-amount is like I can type this in directly and I can say digits as a special character, basically. And here's the command here. Again, I'm putting all the hashes into one file, and I need to change this back to MD5 hashes.txt. And here is the mask. Dr. Haynes, this famous Dr. Haynes, right there. This needs to match the mask right here. The question D, each one of these means a digit. So I got question D, 4 of those in a row. So I've got 4 digits. It will brute force all of them. And this is, just think about the number of combinations here. I've got 4 random digits, so that's 0 to 10. And so the final total is each digit can be 0 through 9. So here I've got, it'd be 9999. So there's 10,000 combinations. Now the funny part about this is this is even faster. Adding a mask is nothing, especially like a short one like this. The Rocky list had almost 15 million passwords in it. This here is only going to be 10,000 tries. So I'm copying this. You will have to type it because you don't have access to what I'm doing. I'm pasting it in here. Oops, Control Shift V to paste. And it just looks like I added some extra text, and that's fine. I'm going to clear that off here. I must have copied the whole thing, including the line feed. One little clue here. Whenever you have the name spelled wrong, it'll be in like not bold. But once you have it spelled right, like it finds it, then it will go in bold. Okay, so again here, A3 means a mask attack, and M0, same hash format, and we're going to hit enter here. Oh, whoops. Now this is fun. This is because I'm on a Mac, and I don't actually need these, I don't think. Oh, and that's what I did. This is because let's try this. I'm replacing the quotes because I just copied it out of my text. There it goes. And what happened is when I put it into this PowerPoint, it made it do the thing. Okay, so we're back here. Notice here, I copied and pasted it out, but these quotes look like they were this one at least is what we call a smart quote. And so I had to replace it with a regular single quote. But that works good. All right, so we're scrolling down. And here it is. There's the 5 passwords. Like I'm done here. A3, let me just go back. It does it. It shows me in order what they were. So A3, where is it? Oops, that's Pokemon one. A3, A9, that's that one. FD is that one. EA, B2. Make sure you get these right because this will count against your submission counts. It's like you want to try to get them not to have attempts, but yeah, this would be a case where you might lose a couple of attempts. All right, let me just show you here really quickly. If I don't, I can't scroll back here and I can't find the hashes I've already cracked. If I up arrow here and put -- show at the end and hit enter, it will just show me all the passwords I've cracked so far. So this is, again, an option there for that. All right, next one gets to be a pain. So there's mask attack, adding show, we already did that, and again, double check here. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit because our next one is actually a huge pain. All right, I need a custom word list for the next one. Here are hash passwords that are created using the names of Pokemon. So I need to find names of Pokemon somewhere. And so I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna look for Pokemon list. So this is, I don't know, it's kind of a blending, right, of different things. I would use this Bulbapedia, and in fact, this is the list they kind of used. The reason why you're going to use this one, I'm just going to click here, is because I'm looking for it to be in a table. And let's see what we can get here in terms of a table. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So here's the list. I'm scrolling down, and you can see they're in a table here. And I've got here, generation 1, it starts with Bulbasaur. And you are going to be very sad to have to watch me go through this whole thing. Because what I need to do is copy all of this stuff. And I'm using a spreadsheet. I'm a business student and I know how to use spreadsheets. And so I'm going to copy these into a spreadsheet. Because what I want to do is be able to isolate the names. Right, so again, I've got my list of Pokemon here in table format. And I need to copy these and put them into a spreadsheet. So I've got to go starting here, and I'm going just to the end of the first table. And I hate to show, like, this is super tedious, but you have to do this. I'm holding down Shift and I'm picking the end number. I'm going to right click here and copy it. I'm just saying copy so you can see me do it. I'm going to click here, but this time I'm going to say edit, paste, special, values only. Oops, it didn't copy it. Let me copy this. I'm hitting Control C now. Edit, paste special, values only. It is not in a mood. And there it did that. I don't want that. The reason I don't want that is it'll give me a link and it does this sort of crazy stuff. Why isn't it pasting values? Paste special, values only. Dang it. All right, we'll just paste it in. All right, we'll talk in a little bit about why this was a bad move, but we'll be fine with this. So here you can see in column C, I've got all of my, I'm closing that off. I've got all of my values in here. All right, so I'm going to 152, and I've got to find that one. Starting here, there's 152. I'm going to scroll down to the end of this table. They very deliberately do this, by the way, in these competitions. So just sort of get used to this. I'm hitting Control C. I accidentally hit Option on my, or Command, because I'm a Mac user. Oops. Dang it. Stupid thing. Oh, tedious and annoying. All right, I'm going back up to the top. I am clicking. Yours might click and drag better than mine does. I'm holding down Shift, and I'm clicking again. Control C, pasting that in there because somehow the paste values didn't work and I'm annoyed. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. Oh, come on, people. Scroll down a little more. I need to start with number 252. Just clicking right before the pound sign. Scrolling down here. Pick up this one. Control C, paste it in. The scroll works a little better. Scroll down to the bottom of the list. It's going to be a nice big list, isn't it? My scroll is reversed or something. I'm pasting. Let's do 52. I'm going to scroll down to the end of that. And this is partly just to help me keep in mind 387 is my next one. Scroll down here a little bit. My goodness, this is just so tedious, and you're watching me do this. Ends up being kind of boring, but this is what it takes, by the way. So sometimes in these CTFs, gathering up those extra points is it's going to take you time. And this is the difference of people that get all of them versus people that don't. They just, there's probably people that just do this 24 hours straight, you know, just keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm just copying here. There is a script you could run, by the way, if you were like really into Python. One of the problems I would say with doing that is it's not necessarily going to be this page again. And in fact, like the one thing you can be sure of is they're not going to use Pokemon again. This is the gym, and they are not going to use Pokemon again. Let me scroll down here. Right, we're on 722 now. It's getting exciting. Only my scroll doesn't work at all on this page. Click in there. Oof. How many Pokemon are there? 722 to 899. Man, right? The funny thing I didn't do was, well, you're just seeing my samples. I didn't actually check what well, I did. I solved it and I did the whole list for the gym. Yeah, this is super tedious. All right, 810. Come on, get there, get there. We are awesome. Clicking again. I'm selecting it all, holding down Shift still, copy. Then I paste it. There's 810. Goodness. By the way, once you get down here, you see how it says add 1,000, like I need more rows, so I have to click add. Scrolling back up to find the end of the rows. I can hit control up arrow. That would be a nice way to do it, but I am navigating by hand here. There's 906. We're getting close to done. All right, now we might have a problem here because I need to go down to the bottom. I'm using the arrow keys to get down, so I'm holding down Shift and using the arrow key on my keyboard. I'm just going to scroll. I'm just, like you can see me repeating once in a while. So that's what I'm doing. And that looks like all of them. So I got back to Poison Ghost at 1025, Control C, and Control V. So I need this whole list. All right, next up, I need actually to extract just the name. And you actually might as well put it here. And I'm going to put equal and just click there. So I just get, oops, I don't want the text. Well, maybe we can just leave it. Because the problem is I don't want that stupid link anymore. And let's just do here equals, let's call this title. I think that's title case. How do I do title case? Well, maybe we'll just leave it. I'll just leave it. Okay. We'll do that one alone, which is not what I'm happy about. And then we also need to do, let me just show you must do these two things. I need a lowercase version of it. Somehow it's not showing it. Lowercase of that one, so I'm putting equal lower in here, and then I need an upper. Let me actually put this in here. Let me just delete that column, sorry. Let me put it right next to this. I'm gonna insert one column to the left. I'm gonna need two columns, so I'm just gonna put both of them there. I need one for lower of that, parentheses, and it will suggest autofill and just hit check. And then I need an upper of that one. You want to do this because, oops, go in there, stupid thing, upper of C1, there we go, and I'm suggesting autofill there. You want a lower and an upper like 100%, and in fact you want title, but I'm not finding title case in here. This is the title case. Okay, so what I need now is another text file. And I need a text file that's going to have all of this stuff in it. So I'm going back to home again. Actually, I can just do it here. Let me go into I already have Mousepad open anyway, so I'm just going to go File, New here. That'll open a new tab here. And let's copy here. I'm going to copy these in columns, like one column at a time. I'm copying, come on, baby. Down, way to the bottom. I could probably do this in all three. I'm hitting Control C though, and hitting Control V. That pastes them as, yeah, it just pastes them as text, and we're good here. I'm gonna hit Enter, because we're down at picarunt. From picarunt, I can go back up, so I'm just gonna put picarunt and then hold Shift and go up to Bulbasaur. Control C again, Control V. Enter. So picarunt was the end one. I'm clicking back here, starting at Bulbasaur, scrolling down to the bottom, And I'm getting to the bottom here, down to picorent. Again, I'm hitting Control C, and I hit Control V. All right, now we have a list. So let's just notice some of this stuff here. I'm a little worried about things like Orgerpon, Cornerstone Mask. But there's probably an Orgapon in here that's alone. Where's the Orgapon? I'm a little worried about that. So what I'm going to do is I don't want these quotes in here, the double quotes. That's actually easy to get rid of. I just need to do search. I need to find and replace, and I'm just going to put a double quote in here and replace them all. Okay, so now they're all gone. If I was really like, and this comes up in the Law and Order one, if I need just, like, for example, I'm worried that ultimate might be one of the words, so I'm just looking over here at ultimate mode. If I'm worried that ultimate is going to be one of the words, I'm just going to put search for space, and then I can replace it. I believe it's with a \n. Let's see if it works. No, damn it. Can I undo that? Okay. All right, I'm not happy with that. We'll just let it go here, though. I'm a little annoyed, but that's fine. We're just going to leave it because this one works. I'll just tell you that coming up for the other one, that's the Law and Order one, you actually need a carriage return where every thing is. Let me just try one more. Double click here, hit a space, and then I'm going to go \r, \n. These should be replacing it with a carriage return and a line feed. And I'm not sure why it's not doing that because it just did it again. And you are going to have to figure that out for yourself because I think, like, again, this will work for this one, but we're going to just, worry about putting carriage returns in later. Because again, sometimes it might be alolan form. Anyway, all right, I'm going to save this. I hit save. I do want it still in my home directory, and I'm going to call it Pokemon.txt. Hit save. You can't quite see that. I wish this was a little smaller. Save is zoomed down there. Just a dumb thing. I'm double clicking this window and it doesn't want to do it. I'm just going to hit enter because that will save it. I'm a little annoyed that this is not showing the whole window. Isn't that that's so annoying because it's down there. Let me see if that. No, that's not going to work. Man, that's super annoying. These windows. All right, we're just going to remember that you have to hit save. Anyway, so there's Pokemon.txt, and it's already saved, and so we're ready to go. Now, like that's tedious, right? I got my list of Pokemon, copied them into a spreadsheet, and basically extracted them all out. So here's the hash list. I already put them in my list, right? Or did I? No. Let's make sure those are in my list. So I'm copying each hash, pasting it in here. I'm going to double click, copy, paste, double click, copy, enter, paste, enter. I keep hitting put enter, double click, copy, paste. And I should be at 15 now, and this is very exciting. I'm going to paste that, and I'm going to save it. All right, this is still MD5 hashes, but now I'm using Pokemon.txt to crack them. I'm going to go back over to my terminal now. And the terminal command here is it's still a word list attack. So it's the same command as the rockyou was. So let me just show you what it is. Make sure we put here MD5 hashes. And since Pokemon is in the same directory, I can just type the name of that. So if I hit up arrow here, I'm looking for my rockyou one. So it's the same command, but here I'm just going to change it from rockyou because it's Pokemon.txt, and that's in the same directory I am. All right, so I'm going to hit enter here, and it did it. All right, so I can see here I had, and this kind of comes up in the gym, by the way, that some of them are uppercase. I think most of them are lowercase, though. But anyway, here they are: Bulbachew, Pikachu, Snorlax, Mew, Eevee. And notice again here, we go back to the hashes, they're in different order, so make sure you copy the right hashes. So that was fun. Again, we still have that show command. That's pretty exciting here. Now we're going to do a hybrid attack. This, by the way, is the law and order one. I'm not going to extract the list because now you're working on, I need to extract another list. We're just using the Pokemon because it's the same idea. And I'm pasting in the Pokemon here because it's going to be the name of a Pokemon plus 2 digits. So I'm copying, pasting, copying, oops, don't paste. I'm copying and pasting, copying, and I'm pasting. Okay, so we've added 5 more Pokemon. These are using the names of Pokemons that end or begin with 2 digits. I'm doing both ending and beginning. I can't remember what the law and order one is. It's either ending or beginning. But we're going to do both because we can, because we're awesome. All right, so I got those in there. I need to hit save because they need to be in there. We're going into our tips here. We got a hybrid attack now. A hybrid attack is basically, it's brute force combined with a word list. If we use an A6, I'm going to change that to MD5 hashes. If we use an A6, that will append, or try it with appending it to the end. Okay, so it appends the brute force stuff at the end, and I can see right now I messed that up because it's just question D, and hopefully those quotes aren't educated. So I'm going to copy this again. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to hit Control Shift and V when I want to copy and paste. And this is the same, like it's basically the same command we did earlier, but now we're at A6, and so we need a mask at the end, on the right side of our word list. Hashes, word list, mask. Hit enter. We're very excited here. Notice here, by the way, it says remove 15 hashes found as pop file entries. That's because we already cracked like 15 of these. It is looking at the new ones. I'm scrolling up here. And you can see here we got Charmander with a 1-5, Squirtle with a 7-3, Gengar 36. So we caught 3 of them. And remember, it said Pokemon are end or begin with 2 digits. So now we'll do the other side. A6 is for stuff at the end. A7 is for stuff at the beginning. And it's basically the same, it's the same command, right? Except it says A7, and then the mask goes before the name of the word list. I'm going to go back down to the bottom here, and hit Control Shift V to paste. That looks pretty good. So again, A7 means the mask goes before the word list, and then we rock and roll on this one. Notice here, this has taken a decent amount of time. So I got the word list. It was whatever 1,000 Pokemon. There's 2 digits randomly added to it. It doesn't take that long, right? It's funny it says 0 seconds it took. But here we are again here. You can see I got the other 2. It's 96 Ditto and 79 Onyx. I can scroll back, if I needed to type them in, or I'm just going to go with my up arrow and put a -- show. The cool thing about the show, by the way, is if I'm doing these in order, here's the first 5, here's the second 5, here's the third 5, and here's the 5 I just did. So I can go and again match up the hashes and type these in the thing, okay? So notice again, let me just try this again because now I'm remembering actually in the Pokemon. Remember we were doing like alien form? Let me just show here. If I copy, this is a little funny way to do it. If I actually copy a carriage return, so I just clicked on right after the X, held down the mouse, and went to the beginning of the Vulpix. And now I'm hitting Control C to have it in my clipboard. And then I want to, do you see how it says search for? And I put it in there, and then it does a carriage return. There's probably a key value for this, but I'm going to go ahead and show you because now that I just remembered, we can replace. I just typed a space, and I'm replacing it with a carriage return. I hit replace all, and now notice, right, Alalan form is in 2 words. By the way, let me close this. Don't worry so much about like adding extra stuff. You can see Ninetales is on here twice. When you do it for Law and Order, there's going to be like dots and other stuff. But compared to 15 million entries, like these word lists are going to be tiny, and you don't have time to clean up the word list. Like, don't clean them up. As long as it has the words you need in the list, go for it. In fact, that almost means here, I could just copy these, paste them in something, and then put in carriage returns, just a ton of carriage returns. And, you know, it would be like pound 1024, Terapagos, normal, form, normal, like, and even adding that much stuff, if I've got time, it's good enough. Good enough is good enough on these. Okay, so that was fun. All right, so we got here, carriage return, and we just found out in there we don't place a space with carriage return. All right, you're hopefully ready to go here. All right, the next couple are going to be, yeah, it gets a little wacky here. All right, next up is Windows passwords. So these are different hashes. So what we actually are going to do is do different hash, like we're going to make a new file for hashes. I think we're done with MD5s. We might just close that out. All right, so here's Windows password dumps. Let me just tell you, this style, whenever you see a colon, the first half is what's called an LM hash. The second half is called an NTLM hash. So the first part, where it's the LM hash, is something that it existed in XP if you could disable it. It might have been disabled by default though. Anyway, LM is super old, and these hashes are not actually useful. These are the only ones that matter, and it's that these, the second hashes, are the ones that actually have like what the person typed in. This LM, I'll show you in a minute, it doesn't even help you, honestly, at least for one of these hacking competitions. So for Windows, what we're doing is it is possible to crack these with Hashcat, but we're going to use a thing called offcrack, and offcrack is actually in here. The tables for offcrack have tons and tons of entries in them. So this is offcrack, and the way the offcrack tables work is they have basically used their computers to crack passwords, and then they upload these massive sets matching the NTLM hashes with these passwords. The reason why they can do this is the NTLM hashes are not salted, and so NTLM hashes, I don't know, it just makes it easier to crack them. So I'm going to show you mine, and let me just show you actually here. I'm going to go to here. If I need to find them, I put in my offcrack tables, and I need these tables. This is nice and slow, isn't it? So we do want to look here, free XP rainbow tables. There's actually a better looking place. That might be the one we want. Let me just open this in a new tab just to make sure it's the one I want. Yes. All right. Like you'll see here is 17 gigs for all of them. The one that they need for the gym is this 7 gig file. It's not file, it's a set of files. So I'll tell you right now, this is a lot. And so I'm not going to do it right now because I'm on a wired connection, and I did this, and my connection's decent, and it takes like 5 minutes. If I'm at the university on a wired connection, it takes like a minute, which is great because they have a great connection. If I'm on Wi-Fi though, even at the university, I did this just yesterday, and it took 40 minutes to try to do it just for one of these tables, and it crashed at the end, like it said failed. You can probably see it in my downloads. Oh, I don't see my downloads here. It failed. Yep, here it is right here. Or this one failed. I had to do this one. But you'll see here, like it failed, and that was sad because it took forever. So be careful about these. You'll notice here I've already downloaded the free fast, and I did Vista free, which you actually don't need for this one. I did free small because it turns out I went to look at, let me just show you the XP special. When I click XP special here, which this is the one you need, when I click this, I followed it in a new tab. I'm done with that. And so here they are, the XP special files. What you need to do is create a folder that contains all of them. You also need to get this MD5 sum, because what needs to happen, let me just show you here. I have them downloaded in my, I think they're in downloads, yes. So here's XP Special. I created this folder. I just went right click new folder, and I put all the files in it. These files, it's funny that they're in reverse order here, need to all be there. And the first like gut check, by the way, on these is it needs to, the size should match and be pretty close. The MD5 checksums, you can calculate those and get them. But anyway, just make sure all the files are there. There should be 3 for each table, a bin index and a start. And then they need to be like, they're massive. You can see this one is like table 3, 1.2 gigs, 1.2 gigs, right? Like these are not small files. And you saw me downloading the other ones. So I went here. Which one did I do? I can't remember that I just failed on. Like I had missed one, and so it didn't crack the stuff I needed. And so I needed to re-download table 1. And let me just show you here. If I go to table1.bin, I'm actually wanting to right-click this and open it in a new tab. Because if you click on it, it kind of resets everything. So here it says your download will start shortly. Make sure you wait till the 0 starts. And somehow in Kali, and this might just be some weird thing in my Mac, it won't download it. So once it hits 0, you're going to hit problems downloading and hit direct link. But this may be too late. Like I think it's too late now. Like go a little faster here. So I need to do table 1 bin. I'm opening in a new tab. As soon as it hits 0, I'm hitting problems downloading. And then I'm hitting the link. This should start. Let me see if it does it. Because I don't even need this part table. Come on, baby. There it is. Yes, it did start. You see that? So now it is started. I'm just going to close this though. You can see mine, I'm on a decent wired connection here, and it probably would take just a few minutes. But I'm going to cancel this download because I don't need this file, so I cancel that one. All right, so again, you have to download these files, and it needs, for the gym, it's this, the XP Special. For my examples, I use XP free, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So here's off crack. I'm scooting it over to the side here. This is what we're going to use. Over here is where I'm just liking to have my text files. I do need a new file, so I'm just going to hit new. I'm going to go back over to my list, and I'm grabbing the list. So I need these. Here's this one. It needs to have the full thing. Honestly, though, you actually only need the NTLM side, but just do it this way for now. Copy both of them. And again, there's 2 sides to this. One side is for the left side of the colon is not needed, but we're putting it anyway. And I'll show you what it does when we do it. Copying this one. Copy this one. And just by the way, Hashcat will crack these, but oft crack just has the stuff in them. All right, so I'm going in here. Let me just double check. Oh, I didn't even do the file name. We're going to call this one. I'm going to save it here. I'm going to save it. It goes in my home directory, and that's great. This one I'm going to call winhashes.txt. Okay, so I'm just wanting to keep track of which one's which. I have an MD5 hashes. This one's win hashes. Now I've lost my, can I scoot this down? Stupid. There it is. Anyway, I can hit save here, or I can hit enter. We already learned that. And now you've seen that you can do it from the background. All right, so going back to off crack. Oh, it's right here. Anyway, it's right here, this one. I need to load my PW dump file. That's what that is. And it's in my home directory, and it's just this win hashes, and I hit open. So it crops it in here. For some bad reason, it doesn't, it looks bad in dark mode. Let me just show you here. I have XP free is the only one enabled. I'm hitting tables right now. And notice I have all of them I need. I do have XP special, free fast, free small. I'm doing free small because this takes a minute and I don't want to spend all day. If I wanted to enable these, I just click enable or disable. Enable, disable, right? And I don't want to enable those because I don't want them. I just want to do free because anyway, I got these hashes, so that's what they are. Now I just hit crack. I've got tables, I've got hashes, I hit crack. It loads it into RAM, and you can see that this takes a bit. And I'm not sure how many are in this, but you can actually see it says passwords found 4 out of 5, and it says 5 out of 5, and now it's done. In order to really see them, I got to click here. Now here's where you see LM password is the left side, and it's all caps. These are wrong, so make sure you do not use the left side ones. Oops, I just ordered it by that. It doesn't really matter though. This is still the same deal where you need to match them up to the hash. But as I go through, remember here it is 7A8. I'm going back to off crack. 78, there it is right there. That one is, and it's this one, monkey 12. Let me in, hashtag, protein shake, banana, password. Okay, so they're cracked and you're done. In the actual, remember it's the NTLM password. In the actual challenges, you might have to find other tables. And this is not the only source of tables, apparently, and we've seen them in other challenges where they bring them up. All right, so that was fun. Windows passwords, rock and roll. All right, here's the next one, PDF passwords. So the typical scenario here, we've captured an encrypted PDF from a Pactor's HTTP server, decrypt it and find out. It's usually going to be, I would put here, what are the contents of the PDF? And then we'll put here, there's usually a flag in here. There's not going to be a flag in mine, so like don't sweat that because I didn't do it. All right, now I need that file. I went ahead and downloaded the file. It's called passworded.pdf. I'm actually going to close it here. It can try to open it, by the way, but it'll say you need the password. And I guess we might as well leave that here because now we're going to go ahead and crack this password. So, and again, there's usually a flag inside it. All right, so we're going to download the PDF. We need to extract the hash using this John the Ripper add-on. There's an add-on that will take a PDF file hash out. So we're going to run this command here. It's Perl. This user share John PDF. This only works in Kali, by the way. I'm copying this, Control-C. I'm going to go to my root directory. Notice here I'm just hitting ls, and where did it go? Passworded, where are you? Oh, it's in downloads. Sorry, I'm gonna move this to Kali. That's my home directory. Now it's in Kali. There's passworded. I'm just gonna close this though. I'm going back here. I'm gonna hit ls again, because it needs to be there. And there it is, it's passworded right there. All right, I'm gonna hit Control-Shift-V because I just pasted that in. You're gonna have to type this out. It's going to user share John, and notice this is in bold, meaning that Kali was able to find that. It also found passworded, the name of the file, and I'm extracting it to something called pdfhash.txt. And I just hit enter, and it'll extract it. Now, I'm going to open that up. So I'm going back over here to this one. I'm just going to hit File, Open. I don't know, it's getting to be a lot of stuff. Here's PDF hash. I'm going to hit Open. And what we actually have to do is take off this line here. You can leave the line on there if John is going to crack it. But we're going to use Hashcat just because we feel like it. I'm going to use Hashcat at first. If Hashcat doesn't work, we'll use John. So I'm taking off the passworded, just the passworded and the colon. Let me just undo that and just show you. If I put the arrow key here, I'm just deleting that stuff. Then I hit save, and we're ready to go. I'm going back to my presentation here. We've opened this, and we took out the thing, and we saved it. And now we're going to use Hashcat for this. So here I'm copying this. I'm not sure, by the way, because when I created this, I created the actual thing on a Mac, and on the Mac it said it was M10400, but we'll see if it works. I'm going to hit enter now. No hash is loaded. All right, I'm just going to try one more at 10400, which is supposedly what that format is, and it's not loading it, and this is fine. The PDFs some of them are in different formats. Oh, it looks like it's 10500. Oops, oh, don't hit keys, sorry. So apparently 10500 works, and notice here, it cracked it real quick. The password here is full house. I will just show you here, I'll just change that one here. What did we end up using? We were 10500. So we'll put another note in the text here that you depending on the platform that created the PDF, it might be 10400, 10500, 10600, 10700. Sound good? All right, so we're just gonna note that in case you ever have that problem. So it looks like it was 10500. It's funny, I wasn't able to crack it on my Mac. I created it on my Mac and it wouldn't crack it because I didn't have the right stuff, or the Hashcat in the Mac doesn't have those. I'm going to go ahead and just show you that John can do this also. I'm doing a John attack. It's a format PDF using a word list, which is my rockyou.txt file. I've already extracted it, so you won't actually be able to do this unless you, let me just hit enter here. I'm going to Control-Shift-V and just go ahead and do it. And you'll see here it cracked it as full house. But let me just show you that I have extracted the Kali word list, or extracted the rockyou list as a text file. And this is something like my poor students have to do. I'm hitting File System. I need to find User, USR. I need to find Share. Then I need to scroll way down to the thing that says Word Lists. Looking for word lists, where are you? Word lists, right there. I have to open that as a root. Then I type in my password, K-A-L-I, and this gives me this funny warning, you're using root, you may harm your system. And what I did is I right-clicked on rockyou.txt and I said extract here. And it extracted. I can just hit it again. It doesn't take long. But notice now I have two, but that's why I'm able to do it. And you might have to extract it again. The John password lists have to be text. So I'm closing this stuff off. Anyway, so the password here is full house. And I will note also, let me refresh oops, now I have to find it now. Let me just close this in. I need to find it in my folders. Oops, I don't want that so big. Going back to home. I'm going to open passworded. And the password is FULLHOUSE, and I hit unlock document, and there it is, okay? And in the competition, you'd probably have a flag. It might just be on the first page, and it would just, be sky, whatever, and then you're done. Okay, so that's sort of how these things go. So that was fun. That was a PDF. And by the way, I very deliberately picked an entry pretty high up on the word list, so it only took a few seconds. When I did the gym password one, it took me 40 minutes, so just sort of be aware of that. All right, next up. Now we're to the advanced stuff. All right, so the scenario here is we've obtained an etc shadow from a Kali Linux machine. Help us obtain the password. We think this might be using a password from the Rocky word list. First question, what is the username of the only user with a password? Let me just make this bigger for a second so you can just see it. I just went into my Kali machine, this Kali machine literally, and did the etc shadow file. And this is what it looks like. So this is a totally normal file. And notice here, there's Kali. This is the only user with a password. And there's their password hash stuff. Okay, this is what it looks like. Just believe me. And if you want to crack the Kali password, we're about to do it, because you actually probably know it already, because that's actually what you used to log in. So I'm just leaving that down here. I don't know, maybe it should be on anything, but there we go. All right, so it wants to know the username, what the date of the user's password, what's the salt, what's the hash digest, and then actually crack the password. So this one is actually way simpler than and it's not tedious at all. Okay, so first thing is, we just look in the list for the users. Let me just copy this over. We look in the list, oops, hit Command C. Put it down here. Okay, we looked in the list and we found the user that had a password hash, and it was Callie. So the username is Callie. The date the password was changed is actually 20350 days. That's right here. And we need to find this out. The way you find this out is just called an epoch converter. It's the number of days in Linux or Unix. It's usually the number of days since January 1 of 1970. So I'm just going to paste this in. You can find this site on your own. It's funny how some stuff goes really fast here. So I need the seconds or days since there. I'm going to scroll down here because we're not on seconds. That's the timestamp. We're in the days since, and don't do day 0 because that's between like the year 0. We need the days since 1970-0101. This is the day you want. I'm going back over here. That's this part where it says 20350. Can hardly see it in there, but okay. But it's right here. 20350 is the number of days. I'm just going to copy that because I feel like it. And I'm going to paste it in here and hit paste. And then I say convert days since year. The conversion result is Friday, September 19, 2025. So that's when the password was changed. This will be in the gym. It's some date, I don't know, in the early 2020s. So nothing special there. You just got to do it. It takes only a second. So that's the day's password was changed. Next up is the salt portion. The salt portion is just this G between the first, not the first, this big section of gunk before the first $sign. That's the salt. The hash digest is the part after or between the next two $sign, or the $sign and the quote, or the colon. That's the hash digest. And I will note here, it's funny, when I did, in the first one, it actually has a slash. And for some reason, when I didn't type in the first slash because I was just, oh, that's not part of it. And I just typed it in, but it accepted it. But anyway, this is the actual thing. So watch out, like these slashes are actually part of it. So that is part of it. That's the hash digest. So that was fun. All right, now we got to break it, crack it. One of the things about this password, I think is called a yes crypt. And this specific password is something that runs poorly on a GPU. So we need to create a text file that just has the hash in it. So if I was copying from here, let me make it bigger. I'm going to, actually, let me just copy this over. Copy it again. I have lots of copies of this in here. Let's put it in here. So I'm going to copy, starting with this first $sign and ending right before the colon. And it's because the Y is yes crypt. I can't remember. This is the version. And then again, we have to have the salt and then the actual hash. This is a proper slow hash. So we've been doing like MD5 and NTLM, which are really fast calculations. This one is super slow. You can usually, I think this one is supported in Hashcat, but it's basically a CPU run thing. So I need to create a text file that just has the hash. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter if I have the Callie, I don't think. I'm just copying this though because I feel like it. I'm going to make I'm in a new mouse pad. I'm pasting it in here. I'm going to save it. I'm going to put save as just because I want you to be able to see it. And this is going to be called, let's just call it Linux hashes.txt. And I'm giving these names, by the way, because I'm doing lots of things in the competition. I want to be able to keep track of what was in this file? What was it for? So I got Linux hashes there. Is that what I called it? Oh, Linux.txt. We'll call it Linux hashes. Change that real quick. And this is the John command we need to use. So again, I saved it into my home directory. Let's look at our home directory again. And there's Linux hashes right there. So I'm back over here at the command line. So I'm going to copy this command. It's just John What this one, I'm hitting Control-Shift-V again. Here's the hashes file. This crypt format uses just the cryptography of the computer you're on. And since Kali does yes crypt, I can just put crypt. Otherwise, I need to type yes crypt. I'm just going to hit enter and it should just go. By the way, I'm only hoping this goes because it should be able to find that it's Kali. And it does. Hey, hooray. So there's Kali right there. I just double check here. If I type in here yes crypt, I think it just goes. Oh, well, that's something. I don't remember what the format is. Let's do this. I'm just going to do real quick. I can do a hash identifier. The really, like the newer hashes that are like messy like this are definitely oh, there's one in Kali. I should have just done it on the command prompt. I just clicked on this hashes.com. I'm going to Control-V this, hit submit and identify, and it already says, yeah, it totally says yes crypt. I wonder if I have a capital YES. Nope, okay. Either way, maybe yes crypt isn't on this computer, but crypt worked. So be careful about that, by the way. I would assume that in the actual challenge, they won't put in a hash that you can't, or that won't work in Kali. Although that would be a good trick, wouldn't it? All right, sounds exciting. Thanks for watching, and good luck on your NCL competition.